Digital Interactive. So we're going to ask questions. If you guys have questions, feel free to ask them. If they get really specific, we'll be here afterwards. We can help answer some very specific questions for you. But we want it to be beneficial for you. But before I get started, I do want to get a feel for where we are from a digital perspective in the crowd. So who here is still active on MySpace? Social. One. Okay. You a musician? You're a musician? No, you're joking. All right. So we're into the new century. Good, we got that going for us. Let me hit the next slide. I'm Jason Hayes, Senior VP of our strategic accounts. Been in the business for many, many years. What I was saying earlier, I started in the internet in 1992. So that dates me. But what are you going to do? I'm going to have Joanna and Nick introduce themselves very quickly, and then we'll move on.
Joanna Watson, Senior Strategic Accounts Manager, and just kind of a tech geek and a data nerd. So excited to share some best practice with y'all.
And Nick Fisher, also Senior Strategic Accounts Manager. I've worked with Digital Airstrike for just over 4.5 years. And I've worked on the client success side that entire time. So it's been great.
Perfect. I'm going to go through a couple of slides about who we are. We'll do it very quick. Want to hit the next slide? There we are. We're in orange. We talked a little bit about our size. We're nationwide. We do lots of different verticals. We work with education. We work with social services. We work with healthcare. We do a lot in the automotive space as well. And we have lots and lots of different solutions. At last count, we had like 163 different ways that we can help you find, engage, and nurture relationships that you have in your business, regardless of what it is. Go ahead to the next one. We do lots of leads and we make lots of money. We've been in the business, in the space for 13 years. We were one of the first folks that saw the real social media revolution, and we had people coming to us saying, we're not exactly sure what to do. We know it's out there. We've been doing social engagement, but from a business perspective, how can you harness the power of all this activity, of all these eyeballs, and make sure that two things are happening? Number one, find your customers out there.
Yep.
And number two, make sure that if your customers are finding you, that you're telling your story, and it's a positive story. And it's really powerful to understand how important that is. And hopefully everybody understands that your social presence is key. And when I'm talking about your social presence, I'm not just talking about Facebook. I'm talking about all the social sites. And I also lump in Google. It's a search engine, but it is desperately trying to bring the eyeballs to Google and not let them leave Google. Hopefully everybody knows that. We're going to talk a little about your business profile page as well, and why that's so important to make sure that it's fleshed out and you're being interactive and responding on the pages. So 9,200 clients. We're big, we're strong, we're great, we've been around, we love Scottsdale, and we love social media. So try to keep it short so you guys can get back to your businesses. We win lots of awards. We have, if you ever come to our office, we're by the Fashion Square Mall. We have walls, they're all over the place. And we do that because we've got a lot of fun people, we've got a lot of very intelligent people, and we've got customers that engage with us and like us. But my favorite awards are the awards we get for best place to work. If you are one of the best places to work, like a lot of you guys are, guess what you get? You get employees that are good and want to be there because they feel important, they feel the ability to grow within their roles, and they're allowed to be creative. And we come up with new solutions and new ways to help our customers all the time, from just conversations. When you and I could be having a conversation, you could say, yeah, I really need this to happen this way. 2 weeks later, it would be a full-blown product. We'd be helping you and potentially everyone else in the room. That's why I love our company. We're innovative, and we work with our customers to get them solutions that they really need, regardless of what the vertical they're in. Next slide. Okay, that's about us. You guys tired of hearing me talk about us? All right. Let's talk about why we're here. We're here to talk about some strategies to help your business not only market, but make sure that you have the right social presence, make sure that you're doing the right things, the basic blocking and tackling, to ensure that if you're found online or if you're found through one of these social sites, that it's your story that's being told, not a story that somebody else is telling for you. And we're going to talk about that here in a minute and why that's so important. So I'm going to kick it over to Joanna, who's going to go through our first tip.
All right, so why in the world would anyone not market, right? I like to say if a tree falls in the forest but nobody hears it, is it any good, right? You could be the most talented pest control company, mortgage broker, counselor, but if nobody knows who you are, or you don't communicate with others, nobody will find you, right? So I think everybody in here, obviously you guys know that it's important to get yourself out there, tell your story, and you do the talking versus letting the rest of the world do that for you. So we're going to give you a few tips just to remember and best practices that we've collected over the years. The first one being, most importantly, you really want to make sure that you optimize your Google business profile page.
Hey, in the room, who can tell me what a Google business profile page is? Anyone? All right, go ahead. What is it? Google
So
business
it's off of Maps. It's your Google listing. It's a place where you can collect reviews, give information about your business. It's also a good way to get people to go to your website. And nowadays too, I mean, they're starting to show results on the SEO front that more people are going to Maps than they are to the search engine. So Google My Business is more important than ever right now.
Okay. It's Maps' portion of it. The way I explain it, let's see, there's nobody else here with gray hair. You might not even remember what this was. Remember when you used to get this huge monstrous book that had a bunch of yellow pages in it and there was information about your business? Basically, that is what Google My Business is. Obviously, it's digital. There's more interaction. Google, FYI, we talked about this a minute ago. Google used to be, and it still is, a search engine. And Google would, you'd find something you were looking for, it would give you options, you click and you leave. Guess what Google does not want you to do now? Leave Google, right? They make more money. The more eyeballs they get, they make more money. So the profile pages are being fleshed out and designed more to be your entire story. Google does not want them to go to your website or to your socials. They want to have everything that needs to be told about your business on the profile pages, right? People, let me ask, has anybody seen it? You've all been to a Google profile. It's off to the right, and it has all the information, hours of operation, pictures, all that stuff, reviews. More and more people, that's where they stop. I think it's 64%, was that the last stat? Never leave Google with the searches. They're there. So is it important that you take the time to make sure that you're telling your story on your Google profile page? So if you haven't done it so far, don't worry. We can help you out. We'll give you some tips on how to flesh it out, and then some tips on how to make sure that you're interacting with what's happening on that page. So
one example to add to is zero-click search on Google. So if you search a question on Google My Business, most of the time it's going to come up with the answer right there on the screen that pops up when you search a question just in Google. So that's another strong point to make related to Google and them not wanting you to leave Google to find the answer.
And as Jason, sorry.
I was just curious. I keep getting a lot of calls from what feels like a spam, but they keep telling me I need to, hey, verify my information for Google. Is that spam? Is it real? Is that connected to this?
I get them too.
Yeah.
I mean, I keep telling you, I keep telling them to remove me, but then I'm
You're
am
trying to
I?
hijack it. Don't give them any info.
Okay, so this is all something I need to do. Okay.
Yeah.
now, some people are going to be marketing, telling you to
Verifying.
they'll help you
Verifying
set up your
your
Google
listing.
Right.
page and then
Claim
verify
your-
the information, claim things. So some of that could be marketing, but Google, to my knowledge, Google's not reaching out to business owners telling them to do this.
Yeah.
like
The only
my
time
errands.
you'll ever have a
It
call.
feels spammy, especially when the English is not great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
My
is.
vibe.
The only time you'd ever get a call from Google is when you're in the process of verifying your account. One of the options is a phone call, and then there's also a postcard option too. That's just to verify your physical address and the business listing itself, but it's not a marketing call.
Okay.
You'll definitely feel the difference.
Okay.
And if you ever try to reach out and talk to somebody at Google, you'll realize there's not a chance they're calling you.
Yeah.
Just so
Get a live human being.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, so we'll dive into these
Go back a little.
Oh, you're fine, you're fine. Actually, we can just jump right in. But those four points on the slide before, so we're going to go into every single one. One of the first things that's the most important thing to do, obviously, is just to make sure that all of the details about your business are accurate. Everything from your address to your hours, your phone number. I even had a client of mine get their Google business profile suspended because their business name did not exactly match the business name on the website. So Google is very particular in terms of making sure that the person that's claiming that this is their business profile is the same as the website itself. So that's the first basic step, is just make sure all of your information is correct on the profile itself.
And I want to just expand on that. You've heard of directory sites. There are hundreds of directory sites out there. Some of them have decent traffic, others are a little more obscure. But they're going to have your listing on them, whether it's the correct information or not. So one of the things that we do is we're able to take your proper address, your proper phone number, your hours of operation, and push it out to about 300 directory sites, so it's all correct. And it only takes one on Joanna's list of cool companies directory site, somebody searching there for an attorney, and if your information is not correct, you've lost out on that. So it's important to make sure that it's consistent. The other thing that happens without that consistency is Google crawls millions and millions and millions of sites every day. If it is looking for, what did I call you, Joanne's House of Fabrics? I can't remember. I guess that's your actual customer. Sorry. It's going to see all these different addresses, right? Your name, different addresses, maybe a different phone number, maybe your fax number. When you had them, I saw that happen all the time. That does not help with your search engine optimization because it is confusing Google's crawlers and algorithm, and it actually will drop you down. So it's important to make sure all that information, I hijacked your conversation here. It's important to make sure all that information is correct, up to date, always across all those directory sites, and especially on Google.
A couple additional points there too is that this particular client had their page suspended because it did not match it. So she was dead in the water, even down to her email address, everything. So just make sure that you're keeping an eye on that. And then also too, it's really good to get in there and make updates, even if it's on your hours or whatever, because Google loves Google. And if it sees activity that's recent and that you're in there making updates, that can help your search engine results as well. And then the other thing that is super critical, so your address information and then also reviews is probably the second most important thing on your Google business profile.
Who here knows their star rating on Google?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Who here is very proud of their star rating? What's your star rating? What's your
We're
star?
at 5.0, over 200 reviews.
200 reviews. That's awesome. I'd be very proud of that too. Anybody else?
I said I was proud of half of it because we got attacked by cultural appropriation people.
Oh.
So we got bombarded with 1-star reviews, and then by non-clients, obviously, and then the rest of my actual clients are 5-star reviews.
Okay.
So
Yeah, don't think that
virtually
you're
impossible to get those removed.
don't think that your competition is not going to go on and try to sabotage.
There wasn't competition.
It was
It
not.
was-
Yeah.
It
But
was
yeah.
mean.
If you can prove it, you get it taken down now.
It is true, and we have a full team of people that is what their responsibility day in, day out is to manage, respond to, and dispute reviews to get them taken off. So
One, it's funny because he brings up the yellow pages. That's one of the biggest directories you find online now is the yellow pages.
yeah,
And one of 300 when you look at the scheme of things.
absolutely. Yep. So a few key things there, and we'll dive into I think on the next slide here. Is with reviews, you want to just make sure that that you're responding to them. So, okay, another key thing. How many of y'all have played around with questions and answers on your Google Business profile? Okay, it's not always an obvious feature that business owners take advantage of, but I'll tell you why it's important. And again, it's because Google loves seeing that interaction. It loves seeing and determining that you are the expert in the field that you claim that you are. Plus, the more keywords you put in there, it's gathering that. All of this is just to help your search engine results. And also, the other interesting thing on this is that the more you put into your Google Business profile, the further and further down your competition is going in the other suggested companies on page. And we know that everything above the fold is so important, and the likelihood of them kind of scrolling down to see the other companies will be less and less the more questions and answers you have, the more tiles that you have as we get into that too. So
Not to mention, customers are asking questions there too. So it shows a lot for a business to go in there and actually respond to those questions and answers. Because oftentimes, if you do a search for a company on Google and you go to the questions and answers section, the responses are not there.
Well, let me ask a question too. You understand what we're talking about right here, questions and answers, and then you can do the Q&A. Who can answer those questions, you know? Who can answer the questions about your business? Anybody, right? Suppose some competitor might go in there and start answering those questions if you don't.
Yeah.
what if you don't have anybody to ask the question?
Yeah.
Phone a friend. Exactly, phone a friend. Phone a friend. Have, throw out a light.
Ask questions and then you can answer them.
Yeah.
Once again, Joanne's absolutely right. In business and especially in the internet, getting above the fold, it's not a newspaper term, above the fold is really important because people don't read too much below the fold. And as you know, it sounds like we have a very savvy audience here. You're on your profile page, your competitors are going to be there. They're going to be at the bottom, right? Also look at, okay? You want to push those suckers down as far as you can. So by the time they get there, they're so sold on you, they're not even going to look at the competition. We're going to talk about some other tactics here, but this is a big one. Get several question and answers and continue to, delight your customers by giving them information that they're looking for and pushing your competitors down.
And a great strategy to this is whatever sets you apart from the competition, just plant those questions in there, and that way the consumer is already engaging and says, oh, do you guys use all natural products? Why, yes, we do. Anything that you can inform them about, you want to bake that into the question. So there's a good strategy in the Q&As as well. Once you've got your Q&A set up, you want to make sure that you're utilizing Google Tiles. How many of you are using Google Tiles? Okay, so this also probably less common, but there are these images here, almost like a social media post. So you can pair a nice image with either a promo offer or a nice recent review that you received, any specials that you have going on. So this again is another way to just drop down the competition and other suggested companies, but also to inform the audience, because as Jason said, a lot of people that are searching don't ever go past your Google Business Profile page, and you want them to pick up the phone and call or go straight to your website versus, I'm going to just keep looking, and then they'll land on somebody else's Google Business Profile that's a lot more robust, has lots of more questions and answers, has these dynamic images and offers and everything. And so which company do you think that they're going to probably go with there?
One thing to add here too, with these offers that you put on Google Tiles, it is manual. So with that being said, if you put an end date for an expiration on an offer, a lot of times you might go to a business, Google My Business Profile page and see expired offers. So it's important to either stay on top of it or hire somebody to do that. We have graphic designers and content creators and copywriters in-house that monitor and manage Google Tiles for businesses. Because it is, again, a manual thing to upload. Questions?
I think, never mind, it's all answered right now. Like, what else do we use Google Tiles for? But I know all testimonials also around there.
Yes. Also review highlights,
If you're looking for new employees, anything.
hiring, yep.
Yes.
If you don't have a service or product that you can discount, what is a good way to engage with a tile?
To be informed, so anything you can inform, a tip. Let's say it's a pest control company and you could say, now is the best time to spray for scorpions, and then you could say, call now for our, latest.
Scorpion season.
Yeah. Anything, if you're not, and a lot of our clients are not running or discounting their services, but anything that come across as the expert, and really just think about it, sort of mirroring your organic social posts. It's just, this is another way, like Facebook, like Instagram, like LinkedIn, to be able to display your creative, your content, and your offers and information there. So, but yeah, I would say, anything that's helpful, useful tips and information if you don't have any.
Tell your story, Lex. It's all about telling your story, answering your questions.
Before the snowbirds come back.
Yes.
Consultation call is a call to action too.
Yeah.
Consultation call.
We've had clients even feature some of their employees, you know, just to personalize it more and make it feel less like corporate, but more of your, you know, your neighborhood pest company or housekeeping company.
Okay.
And these also act as website conversions too, guys. With Google Tiles, you link them to specific pages on your website.
Yeah.
So if a customer clicks on the Google Tile, it takes them to a separate screen, and we don't have a picture of it, but it'll pull up more information on the offer. You're still on Google, and then there'll be another additional link that they can click as a consumer to go direct to your website.
How often do you suggest that you edit it, add to it, whatever?
I think best practice for a Google Tile would be once per week. That's typically what we recommend. Yeah, and that's what our team does for our
Correct.
clients. Yeah.
Unless it's offers that run for an entire month, then obviously you want to leave that up for the.
Do you get the benefit of that backlink?
The backlink? Yes.
Okay,
Yes.
so it's like a do follow backlink?
Yep.
Wow, okay.
Remember, from an SEO perspective, Google loves them some Google.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Another backlink.
Backlinks are the hardest.
So if you're active on your profile, they are going to say these people are cool. Let's showcase them more.
What do you mean by backlink?
It's a whole other.
A backlink is a link that comes back to your website that shows relevance that helps with your search engine optimization. I'll tell a quick story because I know we're really late on time. Remember when, I don't know if it still happens, but when you were doing papers at school and you put the bibliography, is that the proper term? You'd cite references. That's where it all started for Google. Those guys were Stanford MBA guys. And they thought, all right, well, in order to make my paper more relevant and get an A, I have to reference really smart people and show that I'm using their information, right? It's the same concept, very easy. So you've got a website that is highly regarded and you're linked to that website, Google says, ooh, they must be good because they're linked to these guys. That's what that is. More information you ever wanted to know about that.
But kind of going back to that 300 business listing, so that all of those are backlinks straight to your website. So that's another huge value of that service as well.
Big directories.
Yeah. Okay, so why would you need to optimize your Google Business Profile? We've sort of touched on these. It tells who you are, what you sell, where you're located, how to get to your website. And then it also greatly impacts your SEO, as we've said, visibility searches, maps, website traffic, exposure, all the action, lead sales. So
think about it from the yellow page perspective. Once again, remember you have the little, it hasn't been that long. There's a little like ad and you have a full page ad. I remember looking through those. Yeah. This gets you from a tiny little nothing to a full page ad.
And then we just threw in some mining.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, and you get to decide how big your ad is on Google Business Profile. Do you want it to be that small one with bare minimum that somebody put in and doesn't have the correct information, or would you like to create yourself that full page ad? So just some interesting stats here on Google. One of my favorites here is that mobile devices account for 63% of the Google searches. So that's key as well. Making sure that you're contacting and making sure your maps information is correct. And then 1 billion users worldwide are using Google's products and services, and 3.7 billion searches every day. So
I like the 1.2 trillion a year. That's a lot of searches. It's a lot of activity.
yeah. All right, we touched on reviews. We know nothing can be worse than a bad review, and I think consumers are getting more and more sophisticated. They can usually tell with the 1-star reviews. Most consumers nowadays are looking at those 2 to 3-star reviews and really trying to gauge, or even 4-star, what your company is. The key here is that you want to make sure that you're engaging. That if you do get a bad review, when you get a bad review, that you are responding to it and that you're showing that you're taking steps to mitigate the problem. And our team is trained to very quickly move that conversation offline as quickly as possible. You want to avoid any sort of back and forth in your reviews.
And even though you might not save that customer experience, you might be saving 3, 4, 5 other customer experiences that are looking at your reviews. If they see that you're responding and making an effort to that negative customer experience, me as a consumer, we're all consumers in the market, right? What's the first thing we do when we go looking for something? We look up reviews to see how are other people rating this specific business. And even if they have 2 or 3 negative reviews recently, if they're responded to, trying to make an effort, that could potentially change that customer's perspective when they initially saw it.
Okay. Let me ask, everybody's responding to their reviews now? How quickly are you responding to them?
Within a day.
Within a day? All right. And positive reviews, how quickly are you responding to those?
Within a day.
Within a day. Is everyone responding to positive reviews?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, lots of folks.
We're not allowed to respond to reviews.
We do send notifications.
We have.
No, man,
notifications.
like, is there a way to do that?
It's, I don't know if Google has that. Google has that
Yeah, you'll be
capability
notified
on-
when
on
yeah,
Google.
when it goes. If you're not currently, you'll want to check your settings to make sure.
Cool.
Yeah.
Make sure it's in your business profile, yes.
Yeah.
The one thing that Google's very easy. You can go there. There are 300 other locations that people might review you. It's hard to manage and see exactly what's happening across all of those. So that's one of the services that we provide is we monitor the whole universe for you. And if somebody says anything positive or negative about you, we want to respond to it.
Yeah, you would also receive a dashboard with that service where you could see all of your reviews across all the different platforms and even kind of a cumulative review rating. So it's a great service if that's something that
Yeah.
you're interested in.
Okay, so
Please.
back to the lovely reviews I have. They're all there, like, have nothing to do with my business. I never responded to any of them just because there was death threats against me and everything else. So I
Oh, wow.
didn't feed into
That's
it.
easy. Death threats easy to get taken down.
Google.
No, they're not. Because I have
If
trouble.
there's
But
a,
that's besides the point. But I obviously didn't respond to any of those because being silent was like the easiest way to get rid of them once they figured out I also had a lawyer too. So how do you, the clients, there's one client that was not like happy with me and left a negative review. I did respond to that one, but not the other ones. Is that going to like, screw up everything or?
I mean, every situation is unique. We'd have to look at it, you know, and perhaps we could do that, you know, after the fact. But yeah, if there are lawyers involved, I would say that probably was a good call not to get into a back and forth with this person, especially since it seemed like it was more than just one. But as Jason mentioned, there are certain things that you can absolutely dispute with Google if they mention a client's name or employee's name, a death threat. There are certain key things that our team knows that they can get these reviews disputed and removed on your behalf as well. So yeah. Yeah. For the most part, though, you do want to respond, even if it's a negative review. And it could be as simple as, you know, I'm sorry, you know, to hear that you had this experience. Please give us a call. We would like to dig into this more or something. Again, just to try and move it offline and get the conversation off Google as quickly as possible.
other questions? Okay.
All right, so how many of you all have seen, you get to a website and you see a conversation bubble that pops up and then there's a chat on the website. Are any of you utilizing that technology currently?
bot.
Have a few?
Yeah, as a chatbot.
Chatbot, yeah, okay, perfect. Yeah, so this
If
is
I can ask,
Yeah.
why is that something you have been hesitant to put on your site? Anybody want to share? Why?
So we're counseling and mental health, and we do not take insurance personally.
Okay.
So we'd rather get them on the phone to be able to describe to them why we don't.
Okay. All right.
I just need to understand the process better because I wouldn't want someone doing messaging. I want someone available to immediately answer. I would want someone who's like able to answer immediately and not like if they're on the phone or in a meeting they can't get to it.
yeah.
Sorry, way in the back.
Now, sometimes it just gives me the feeling of it's cold and it's a robot, you know, just like when you try to get a person in a company and you can't get through. And
Sure.
To me, that has that feeling sometimes.
Let me, I can appreciate that. Let me ask another question. How many of you have gone to a website or a social site and chatted a quick question? Anybody?
All day.
Lots of folks do that. I do too. It's not any communication that is required, but a lot of folks like it. I do. If I have a quick question, I just as soon do a quick chat and have it answer for me. The other thing, you guys know your clients better than I do, but not everybody is on your website deciding whether they want to do business with you during your hours of operation.
Right.
Me, I'm at 10 o'clock at night, I'm busy all day. I'm talking to nice folks like you all day long. When I'm out shopping or doing services for myself, it's 9 or 10 o'clock at night. I still see the chat come up. Most people understand that it's just a simple communications tool to find out what you're looking for. And it's not meant to replace you as an individual having conversations. It's meant to nurture a conversation, give basic information, and then we can design the chat to gather that individual's information and have somebody call them back, have a human call them back. But we've given them enough interaction where they feel comfortable giving you that phone number, where if they're just coming to your website, they might go, I'm not quite ready to call, maybe I'll call tomorrow or the next day. Where with the chat, they found out some things that they were interested in, and some questions they needed answered, and now they feel comfortable giving you their information and turning that into a lead. And we see those conversions easily when we add this potential feature, or when we add this feature to websites. You immediately see those interactions. You immediately are able to reach out and have those individuals who want to use chat, who want to find out for more information about you, and it will convert them into leads. So the next morning you show up and there's 3 people that have chatted, and you got 3 callbacks set, ready to go. Make sense? Sorry, go ahead.
Oh, you're fine. So a chatbot that is done well is one that does not feel cold and robotic, one that is fully customized. This is an example of one that we put together for Champion Schools. It's one where you can include a video and an introduction. Again, just to try and capture when your business hours are, you're outside of business hours, you're keeping your lights on, and you're sort of, the other great thing about this that I love is that you work with our developers and you can actually really navigate your customer journey and kind of help them figure out your website for them. What are your most common kind of actions that consumers take? And here you can, is it schedule a tour, ask a question, enroll? You kind of can bubble up and kind of help guide them through the website, through this chatbot. We can even incorporate your Facebook feed, social feeds, and then on the dashboard, you can decide at any point in time if you want to just jump in real time or on the mobile app and engage with that customer that's on the chatbot. But we all have lives. If you're at dinner, if your employees are not available there in real time, then our developers can work with you, and a good chat will guide them and collect their information and let them know that you'll be following up with them the next day as well. So I think the challenge out there is that a lot of chatbots are not done very well, and they do feel very cold and robotic and very limited in interaction. So the key is to, when you decide to add this, to make sure that it's a robust, interactive, very customizable, and live interacting type of chatbot. So here's another example for one of our healthcare companies, and you get to choose your avatar, your branding. So we love this for those type of tech-savvy website visitors that want to just ask a quick question or gather some more information.
Yeah, and a lot of customers too, if they have to click more than once or twice, we know this as consumers ourselves, a lot of times that customer might not be able to find what they're looking for on your website. So this chatbot is a really simplistic way to help a customer navigate your website and land where they need to be because it guides them.
And a good way to determine what to put in that journey is that our developers actually look at your website and they say, okay, we have a heat map, we can tell most people are coming to do this, and then that way when we're putting together sort of that journey and track, we're able to bubble up the most important kind of steps in that journey. Great enhancement for your website.
All right, we're down to our last tip. Yay! And we'll see if there are any questions and let you guys get back to your busy days. Posting. How many of you are posting consistently on your socials? All right, how often do you post?
Me? 7 days a week.
7 days a week. So you're posting on your socials once a day,
Yep.
every day.
Yep.
What are you posting?
We own a gym, so videos of classes, showcasing the other services that we have, so recovery. We highlighted our team over the last month, testimonials.
Got great content for a gym.
Thank you.
Yeah. Well, it's all about content and it's all about engagement, right? How many followers do you have?
We're at over 4,000.
What's your average engagement on those posts?
Not high.
Okay. So, and putting together, that's awesome. You're doing the posting. A lot of folks won't. And I ask that because they'll say, how often do you post? Oh, every couple of months.
Oh, yeah.
Is that engaging?
Yeah.
How are you getting your followers, getting your follower base up, and then getting your followers to engage is key.
Right.
Because if you have posting and people are engaging, if you get them to re-engage and repost and talk about that and get the communication going, that's where you've got that social interaction that's going to continue to grow your business.
Yeah.
But kudos on that.
I'll add to that too. It might not just be targeting your specific followers that you have. It's increasing that overall reach of your posts to increase the likelihood of more engagement on your posts. So a lot of times, Facebook, Instagram, they'll limit the amount of reach that a post has based on following, based on likes, based on the concurrent engagement that you're getting on your post already. But if you put budget behind that too, it can help increase your reach and increase prospect customers that aren't seeing your content. And then, I can't remember the percentage, you might know, but there's a limited percentage of even followers that are seeing your content, if it's just organic.
So 3 key things. I would say the first is that you're consistent and that you have recent content. So that's probably the most important. Second is your following. How big is your following? Growing that, because if you've got a big megaphone but not many people are seeing it, you want to make sure that you're always making an effort to increase your audience. Either you're doing it organically in your place of business, encouraging people to follow, perhaps you're boosting your posts or your page. And then the final thing is making sure that the engagement is also up, because then now your fans and your followers are starting to do the work for you.
And they're sharing.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. So we talked about brand awareness. One of the first things, again, I think after searching a company on Google, people will jump into your socials. They want to see, is this company legit? Are they engaging? What are they about? And then building that community. Again, we just touched on that. People sharing their content, showing that you care about your customers. And this, again, will help boost traffic to your website because people are clicking on the links, going into your site. And then you'll reduce your marketing costs because this is all organic. It's, for the most part, free advertising that you can just put out there and help tell your story. And then there is a strategy, as you're putting together your content for a gym, I'm sure, you may be posting different types of content across the different platforms. So what we recommend for Facebook is mostly kind of ads, posting live videos. Twitter is probably better for kind of timely updates, quick tweets. Instagram, much more highly curated, beautiful imagery. And then for YouTube, kind of funny, instructional how-tos is always great and recommended. And then LinkedIn, of course, is probably better for those B2B professional connections and recruiting. All right, so all of these things, kind of wrap together. We call this your advertising insurance, right? So just making sure that you're protecting your reputation. Going back to what Jason was saying, that you're telling your story, because if you don't, the internet and your competition and everybody else surely will. And then making sure that your marketing dollars are not being wasted. And then just that your reviews, lead capture, social content is all up to snuff, and will help you beat out your competition. And then bonus tip, have y'all ever dabbled in OTT, Amazon digital streaming, advertising? So this is something we like to throw out there as a suggestion. With more and more people cutting the cable cord and moving to streaming, this is a great way. It's still fairly new, but Amazon really restricts in their advertising space the type of content that's listed. That's why you really don't see a lot of your local competition really on there. But with certain agencies like us, that they trust that the creative will look good. These are the ads that show up while you're watching a streaming, sports event or your favorite show, Food Network. So a lot of times these ads will either be blank because inventory is not saturated just yet. So again, an advantage for you over your competition. Or it's a non-skippable ad, and that is key. And it's a huge difference between kind of terrestrial TV advertising
or YouTube
advertising. You cannot skip these ads. So really strong ROI, 96% of viewership rating. So really a great recommendation.
Perfect. 30 seconds. Who's ever run a cable spot in there? Okay.
And then on TV?
No, on TV, any cable spot or television or radio spot or any spot.
All day. I got on the news.
All day long. Let me ask, who's the gym, the nice lady from the gym? Who's your perfect customer?
The executive athlete.
Executive athlete. Okay, so men, women, executive. Do they have an income level usually?
Over
Do
6 figures.
Do they live in a certain area?
Yep.
Okay. That's the beauty of this. You can tell me a persona. You can say, I want men, women, 800 plus or 700 plus credit score, over $100,000, sports minded,
Zip
own their
codes.
own house, zip code. You tell us exactly who you're looking for. We can take that because Amazon knows more about you than you want to know.
Yes.
And it's not just Amazon shopping data, they use third parties. Amazon is the king of data. And they have built a persona and a profile on each one of you that is frightening. But you can utilize that to get your message in front of those individuals. That's why we like the streaming services. If you are looking for new customers and you want to get your message out and you go, I don't want to advertise on broadcast or radio because it's kind of, just shoots out and shotguns it. This is a laser focus on the exact individual you're looking for. And then you can tailor the message to be very specific because you know who's going to watch it. And I don't give a dang what program you're watching. It doesn't matter.
Yep.
Maybe we're watching The Golden Bachelor to sea turtle, the history of sea turtles. It doesn't matter if we know it's the individual and not the show, right? Because we know the individual's watching it because they have to log into these streaming services. So we know who you are, and it doesn't matter what you're watching. We'll deliver the message.
And it's so targeted that your neighbor, you could both be watching the same streaming the same football game, but your neighbor will not see your ad because they don't fit that demographic, but you would see the ad because you hit that ideal persona that your gym is looking for.
Good question.
What's the comparison to doing like Facebook or Instagram ads? What's the cost on this type of ad?
Streaming is a little bit more. If you go directly to, and I know we're close to out of time, happy to talk about it afterwards. If you go to Amazon, their minimum monthly spend is $50,000. Direct.
50,000.
50,000. Yeah. Ours is significantly less because we do it in bulk. We work with small businesses all the time. It's not hundreds of dollars. It's very reasonable given that type of buy.
One thing to add to that too, and then we'll move on. With OTT streaming on Amazon, if you look at a TV commercial or you look at a radio spot, the ROI and tracking conversion is virtually impossible. It's just like a billboard, right? You can't track the conversion there. It's just brand awareness. So very similar with streaming. However, we can run a retargeting advertisement, a display ad. We place a pixel on your website and we can retarget customers that have viewed that specific ad with a display advertisement, and that can track conversion to your website. So we have the ability to actually track ROI and conversion through this platform, which is a huge difference. Yeah, we're out of time. So putting it all together.
I'll just finish up. Optimize your Google profile. Make sure that's done. If you need some help, we're happy to help. Make sure you're managing your reviews. Respond to the reviews, positive and negative. Take them offline. Tell your story in the reviews. Don't let the individual who reviewed you tell your entire story. You also tell your story. If you don't have chat, seriously look at it. It's extremely inexpensive, and it truly will help convert people that are coming to your site. Trust me, that would never have converted if you don't have that opportunity and communication method. And then be social. Make sure that you're continuing to post. Make sure that you're growing your follower base. Make sure you're getting that user engagement, because that's the type of activity where you're going to get the referrals from people, you're going to find a new audience, and you're going to be able to engage with them if you do it right. Questions?
Sorry.
No, please.
How important is Apple Maps?
It's definitely, looking at, so you want to look at your marketing strategy as almost like a retirement portfolio, right? And you just want to make sure that you have a little bit in everything, and Apple Maps is definitely rising.
Yep.
With more and more people, as you saw, searching Google and or even Safari on their mobile phones. We see more and more people that are viewing from your mobiles. It's important to make sure that you're.
That's why you gotta keep your Yelp up, because that's what they would
Well,
do.
I noticed that the Google's reviews are not connected to the Apple Maps, correct? It's the Yelp reviews that are connected
Google
to the
and Apple hate each other.
Yeah.
So
They will make it as
They'll never
difficult as
connect to each
possible.
other.
So
They'll
yes,
never
it's
connect.
yet another channel to manage.
And I tell you what, I appreciate it. We'll stay around for a few minutes. I know some folks need to go, so we appreciate everyone's attention.
Thank you guys.